Hi, Tiffy.
Hi, Teal.
How are you?
Great. How are you?
Good.
We had such a good morning.
Yeah, we did.
I had to pop into work super early, so I made Teal meet me against her wishes, and we took a nice long walk. We walked along the seawall.
Nice.
It's a gorgeous sunny day outside today.
We saw a horde of little baby geese.
Or what goslings?
Goslings, little goslings. They were
Ryan
like
goslings,
fluffy, soft little nuggets. They
Yeah,
were
little nugs.
So cute. There were so many. There was
tasty little nuggets.
probably at least 3 little families there. So there was a lot.
Yeah, there was like
30?
20? Yeah, 20 to 30 like little chickadees.
Oh goodness.
Real cute.
They were sweet
Highlight
little
of our
babies.
morning.
Yeah, it was great. We just watched them and took pictures, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
And went to Chinatown and got all our fun ingredients for today and walked ourselves back. It was a very nice morning.
It was so relaxing, and
Yeah.
I feel ready to do this now because we've actually done
Yeah.
something with our day instead of just not doing anything.
Sleeping and being butts.
Yeah.
Which is fine too. No judgments on butts.
No.
This is a butt judgment free zone.
That's right.
We did not say already, but hello, we are
The Movie Girls.
Ooh, that was a nice one. Welcome to the show.
We sound so
everyone.
much more relaxed too, hey?
No.
Instead of being all like giddy, we're just like,
Maybe my mom will actually listen to us. I asked her on Mother's Day if she was going to listen to our podcast, and she's like, "Do you guys still giggle?" I'm
okay,
like,
tell her this is
Yeah,
the one.
Mom.
This is a giggle-free
This is-
episode. Just
this
kidding.
is
Make
for
no
Mom.
promises.
Yeah, no, it'll end. But yeah, Mom doesn't like all the giggling.
Sorry,
Which fair
Mom.
enough. We know we spiked that mic like it's nobody's fucking business.
Yeah.
It's really hard, you guys. We get excited.
We're a couple of giggly guesses.
giggly goslings.
Stop it.
Sorry, Mom. Sorry. And we get excited. We're learning how to work our mics, and when we get really bursting and laugh, to turn our heads away so we're not screeching in your ears.
Super loud, yeah.
Sorry about it. Well, we're learning, okay? Like, get over yourselves. Just kidding. We love you all. Anyway, episode 13. 13. Very exciting. I picked the movie for this one, and I've picked Mona Lisa Smile, which I really like. I haven't watched it in several years. I'm not sure how many, but several.
Yeah, same.
Starring Julia Roberts, Kirsten Dunst, Julia Stiles, Maggie Gyllenhaal, and Jennifer Goodwin. From 2003. Synopsis is: a free-thinking art professor teaches conservative 1950s Wellesley girls to question their traditional social roles. Which, sounds great.
I love movies set in this time period because
too.
it's such an interesting thing of, World War II had ended and the women had been in the workforce taking over for the men, and then all the men came back home and the women kind of got pushed back into the home. So
And
there's
they
this
didn't want to, because they learned how to not do that.
yeah, there's this dualistic nature of, do I want to stay at home and be a good housewife, or, do I want to make a career for myself? And
Well, they got that taste of more and what a career can be, and what working with your hands or working not in a home is like.
Yeah.
And all the men folk came back from war and thought everything would go back to normal, but women had to do a lot, and they weren't ready to give it back. They didn't want to go back to the way it was. This was better for them.
Absolutely. I had so much fun with this cocktail, actually, because
I'm so excited.
I took there were so many different paths that I wanted to take. I have more notes than I've ever written about a cocktail before. So originally I was thinking, I was looking at the alumni of this school, because this is an actual real school. It's not fictional. And we'll talk a little bit later on about the people who came from this school, but notably to me was Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, who we all know as that school. There's a school shooting a couple years ago at this place, but I hadn't heard about the woman behind the name. And she was incredible. And again, I'll talk about her later, but I did read that she was very much into drinking scotch or like a sherry. She was like, that was her thing. She always had a scotch and sherry. So I was like, something with that maybe a little bit. But then I kind of started looking into cocktails that were popular in the 1950s, because it was a very popular time for cocktails.
Yes,
a lot of
kind of
sweet
around the time
cocktails.
when cocktails were born.
That's right.
Or not quite. I mean, they're more like in the 20s.
Yeah,
but
all
still,
these cocktails have been around for a really long time, but there was a really kind of a boom in the 1950s. And I was kind of playing around with like maybe a Tom Collins. I don't know. And then I thought Gimlet will be fun to do, and we'll have like a fun gin cocktail.
Also, in my head, this is not what a gimlet looks like.
Right?
I have never Googled it, but just when you hear a word and you just picture whatever you picture, which has nothing to do with
I pictured
what it
something like a
actually looks
clear drink.
I was thinking more something in a rocks glass, probably something more like a Manhattan.
Right.
I think, and that was more or an old fashioned.
Yeah.
So I was not expecting this beautiful little number.
Well, there's a lot of different ways that you can do it, but I got my inspiration. There's a book published in 1953, which I think is exactly when this movie is based in 1953. It's called The Long Goodbye, and it stated a real gimlet is half gin, half Rose's lime juice. So I made 2 different drinks, and the first one is
2 cocktails.
The first one you have, and that's half gin and half Rose's lime cordial, which we finally found.
Yeah.
After a long hard search.
Oh God, is that what that? Oh my.
Yeah, so that's why I don't think we're gonna love that one. I think it's gonna be very sweet
so
because it was very.
good.
But that's what this book stated, and it was 1953. That's what a real gimlet is. So I thought it'd be fun to do that. But then I thought, that's probably not gonna be very good. So I'm gonna make an alternate gimlet cocktail. And I found this updated modern version because this movie, she's an art history teacher. Is that right? Something like that. And she introduces them to modern art in the film. So I thought, let's do like a fun modern twist on a gimlet. So what I have here is muddled limes and lemons and mint with 2 ounces of gin. What gin do we use again?
Oh, it's the Tanqueray Rang Pure, which is like a lime infused gin. It's not like weird like the fake lime shit that's in everything. It's like lime flavored tortilla chips and it's like that weird lime fake stuff.
Yeah.
It's like nicely infused
fresh lime leaves.
Tanqueray. So it's fresh lime leaves. So it's like a more of a botanical, but very limey. Did you use that for both gins?
I used it for both.
Cool.
Because it smelled so good.
It's really nice.
And they're both pretty lime forward gimlets
fine,
here.
Yeah.
So I just muddled limes, lemons. I actually muddled a couple blackberries too, even though it didn't really call for it. It just called for blackberries in the glass. But I thought,
why not?
Why not? And some fresh mint, 2 ounces of gin, shook in.
Shook it.
I shook it.
You shook it. You shook it. The
shaken over ice, and then just topped up with a splash of soda water. So that's our modern twist.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. So Teal's gonna start with the classic gimlet, and I'll try these.
Well, and the thing is, like, that was the glass. That was not my butt. I promise. Sorry, I made it look very nice.
Was anybody thinking that?
I was.
Cheers. These are very full. Sorry.
Cheers to tradition, but also grown up. Right?
Yeah. Modern. Oh, dripped in my book. I'm just gonna set that down.
Oh my.
Oh, and there's a little bit of honey in this one too, but
right.
It's actually a lot more tart. It's very tart.
Mm-hmm.
I probably did too many limes and lemons, but I like it tart. I don't know if you'll like it. What did you think
want to tell you that one yet. I'm not saying anything.
Okay.
I want you to try it.
Cheers again.
Very tracing. Cheers again.
Oh, do you know what?
I like that one.
I actually like the classic.
Me too.
I was expecting to hate it. I thought it was going to be, and I've never had the lime cordial before, but
I know, I've always wanted to buy it.
It's quite sweet. It's quite sweet. So I'm like, half of that and half gin. Like,
shit.
It's actually really good.
So good.
Yeah, that one's a little bit too tart, I think.
It's a little bit tart.
Maybe, a little bit. Yeah, some more honey.
You could add a little bit of lime cordial.
I was thinking let's add a little lime cordial to that. But I do like it. It's nice and fresh.
It is very fresh. Yeah, the modern one is very fresh, which is really nice. So you don't.
So
have
you would
that
say
fake
the perfect drink would be a healthy mix of tradition and modernism.
Oh my!
Oh,
look! I bet you we're going to learn that in this movie. Interesting.
Traditional values and modern influences.
Yes. Yes. Respect tradition, but find your own way.
Oh. Wow, what an important lesson.
Look at that. We'll not even watch it.
I think we learned all the lessons we need to know here.
We're good.
Thanks for coming in.
That's the end. Just kidding. We're going to watch a movie. Bye. See you in, a jingle's worth of time. Because
oh, right. Yep. Yeah. Got it. Clink.
It's fine. And we're back. Hello. Hi. So did you like it?
I do like this movie, actually. I did like this a lot. I was just thinking about the fact that when this came out in 2003, I did not go see it because it came out on my birthday, and I was busy watching Lord of the Rings, because that was my birthday tradition, and it was The Return of the King came out that same day that this came out, so it didn't stand a chance.
Did not even a little bit.
But I saw it on TV, or Netflix, maybe a few years ago.
Netflix. Oh,
but I don't think I paid a lot of attention.
You're gonna say a few years later. I'm like, that wasn't a thing, did it?
Nope, I know.
Nope, and I'm rude and should listen and shut up. Learn my lesson.
Anyways, no, that's my thoughts. So, I was just trying to remember like the last time I saw this movie.
Yeah.
Because this is gonna sound rude. I'm not the biggest Julia Roberts fan.
You don't have to be.
I think she's an amazing actress.
Now,
Is
she better or worse than Reese Witherspoon?
Oh, better. They're both kind of there, neck and neck, I guess. And it's not that I dislike either of them as an actress necessarily, but I just see her in every role. How could you not? Like, it's just Julia Roberts.
Fair. Yeah, sometimes you get that with certain
distracting
actors.
for me, I guess. I don't know. It's not at all her fault. I'm sure she's great.
Yeah. The nice thing with this movie, I guess, is you get to know a lot about the other girls in it.
The other girls are what make it.
Yeah.
And Maggie Gyllenhaal is like my favorite actress of all time, so
she's wonderful. Like she's just lovely. Yeah, all the other girls have much more of a
great
character
cast.
development.
And Marcia Gay Harden, like there's nobody like her.
She's
stand out.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't mind Julia Roberts. I'm really neither here nor there about her.
Right.
I don't love her, but I don't dislike her.
Right. I don't dislike is a strong word. I don't know her.
Yeah, I didn't mean that you did.
I don't know her.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Did you not put your phone on silent? It's okay.
Really,
she's forgiven.
Sorry, I'll just put that in between.
In between, she's clutching her phone between her thighs right now.
I just, because that's the squishiest part. It'll muffle the vibration sounds.
Fair enough.
You guys won't hear it because it'll be in my legs.
Fair enough. You must like this movie. You own it.
I do. We own.
We're watching it on Blu-ray, DVD.
DVD.
We're watching it on DVD.
So only so much, because if I loved it, I'd probably own it on Blu-ray too.
Oh.
We have over 300 movies, close to 4 now. It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's too many. Some might say.
Lot of movies. Is it, Tiffany?
Yeah.
How dare you?
I got rid of all of my DVDs 2 years ago. Well, I don't have a DVD player. Like, what am I gonna do?
We like movies.
I like movies too.
But to be fair,
put them on a hard
don't,
drive. It's 2019. I almost said 18. It's 2003 too.
We don't. I guess Joel. Well, because first he wanted them all to be out of their cases in the little little bindery thing you can get.
Yeah.
Which we have now, which I finally gave in to him after 14 years. I finally said fine. It doesn't work in our space anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure the next step will be putting them on a hard drive. But also, we don't stream movies or download them. We buy everything.
Right.
Or rent it or whatever. So if we stream to be different, but we don't.
Do you know how fast it is to download a movie on Netflix?
Yeah, it's ridiculously quick. It's so handy and nice because if you're in the middle of a TV show, you just take it with you.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Sidetracked.
Mona Lisa,
Sorry
smile.
about it.
Let's get into it.
We're in it to win it.
What you?
Sorry. I don't have much because I'm the worst and have no trivia. I have more feelings and stuff about the movie and whatnot. We discovered today that of the two of us, Tiff is the facts and I am the feels.
I have no feels.
Yeah, I have all the feels and no facts.
She's a cold-hearted snake.
Look into his eyes. I couldn't find facts this time, so as I went on all the things, my usual places, and just didn't find any good facts. No trivia was good. It was all whatever. It's kind of nonsense.
Right.
The only kind of mildly interesting one, which I already told Tiff, was that Julia Roberts had her smile insured for $30 million.
That is interesting.
It is interesting. Nothing to do with the movie or anything we do on the podcast.
Oh, no, a lot of my stuff doesn't have anything really to do with the movie specifically.
Yeah, but it was good. Tell me some of your facts, and I'll pop in with feels when I have them.
Okay, cool. Do you know that Julia Roberts earned $25 million for this role, which was the highest earned by a Hollywood actress at that time?
Wow.
Yeah, so
I heard
really
she was
wanted
the
her in this
first
role,
actress to ever make $20 million for a film.
Good for her.
Yeah, which is crazy. But before that, Jim Carrey was the first actor to make that much. And
really?
It was for The Cable Guy.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
I never would have guessed that in a million years.
Yeah, the Cable Guy of all fucking
Cable
movies.
Guy.
But yeah, he was the first person, anyone to get $20 million, and she was the first actress to get $20 million for a role. I can't remember what it was for.
Her, I understand. She was huge at this time.
Yeah.
She's still huge, but you know what I mean? This was her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's worth
peak
$300 million or something. $313 million is her net worth. Or billion? No. I don't know. A lot. Several millions.
So this movie received pretty mixed reviews. It was called Predictable and Safe, which I would agree with. I think what gets me about this movie is that it feels very Hollywood-ized.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Very glossy sheen.
Oh, I thought you had more sentences.
That was
that.
that's good. That's my thought. It's
yeah.
There's not a ton of heart in it for me. But all of these side characters do make it.
Yeah. I think what I liked about it, or why I thought it was an interesting, good choice for us and our podcast, are the kind of themes that it brings up with in terms of social norms and traditional values and roles in the home and things like that, which of course we're still looking at and reevaluating and finding our own way in that. And especially, I guess, in our climate, there's a lot happening in our world. And it was interesting because they're really challenging it in this. And although there is, for the most part, everyone's just trying to get themselves a husband. And you have this woman who's coming in trying to show them that there's more, that there can be more, but also both. You know, you can do both things. You can have a career, you can have a family. And people are still, like, women and people are still struggling with that.
Well, yeah, I wrote down, like, to me, the overarching theme of this movie is the freedom for a woman to choose, or what it means to you as a woman, to choose how you want to live your life. Like, for some people, it's learning, and for some people, it's a career, and for some people, it's family or motherhood. And I think it's important that we don't judge each other, and we don't let society dictate any of these roles to us.
Yeah.
Because it's our minds and our bodies and our choice.
Yeah.
And that hasn't changed a bit. It's
that's all we want.
That's all we
wanted.
Yeah.
Especially too, like, there's always this weird mentality of what you should do and what society expects you to do and whatever. But the whole point is you can do whatever you want as long as it's the best, healthiest thing for you. I mean, we still get that all the time. Like, I'm married and have been for several years, and we don't have or have zero intentions of ever having children, which is our choice. It's not the path that we want to take, and that's perfectly fine. And but at the same time, I don't look down on or begrudge anyone for wanting that lifestyle.
No, not at all.
Or to make the choice to have a family. That's a very big choice to make, and I think people are a little bit cavalier about that because it is the expected norm, especially for women, is to get married and have a family. That's very much what it is, and especially because we come from the prairies and it's a little bit more conservative in that way. And that's fine. If that's what you want, great. I'm happy for you. If you made that's the choice you've made, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Because again, it's your choice, and it's our choice.
But that's also the more socially acceptable choice.
It is the more socially acceptable choice, and
nobody questions that. Nobody questions you for wanting to be a mom.
They question when you don't, as if it's some sort of, like, how could you know?
It's like a failing.
Yeah.
Right?
How could you not? How could you be a married female,
what's
to a
even the
straight
point,
man,
right?
and you don't want children? This does not compute. It's all right. It's okay. That can be the case. And that's underlying, whatever. The main theme of this is choose. You can choose, so choose. You can still choose.
But you don't even have
the
you
traditional
can do both.
way. Yeah, and like the whole thing, you can still choose the traditional thing of being a stay-at-home mom and housewife. That's a choice.
Yeah.
You just choose it.
It's flipped though, hasn't it? Because in this day and age, if you are choosing to be like a stay-at-home mom, it's almost like that's more judged, than having a career. Whereas, in this movie, you're judged for not wanting to be a stay-at-home housewife. So it is kind of interesting how that's kind of flipped on its head a little bit.
Yeah, you should still be having children.
Yeah, but you also have to work.
Yeah.
And
you should be able to do both now.
Yeah.
Now you guys, feminism is here, so you can do both, but you really should still choose children. Because not choosing children is a little weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, digressing. But yeah, I liked that discussional topic of what is the traditional norms for us and what are our societal expectations and things like that, and what do we want? What do we want to choose? And can we still? And how do we treat other women, other people who choose something not of the norm?
Yeah. Yep, because in this movie you have a whole spectrum of women, especially the girls that are attending the school. You've got one that's very traditional, and her mother is also incredibly traditional and kind of is overbearing on her life. And then you've got Maggie Gyllenhaal's character on the other end, who's considered to be like a loose woman, you know.
Well, she's from a divorced family.
From a divorced family. The only one on her block.
In the 50s is
shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she sleeps with her professor, and she sleeps with a married man, and she has a diaphragm, and it's just shocking to everyone. You know what I mean? So it's just a spectrum of these girls, and then the ones in the middle as well.
And then the ones in between, and yeah. It's... And then what, in Kirsten Dunst's character, Betty... she's of the opposite.
Total Betty, by the way.
She's a total Betty. She's the opposite end of Maggie Gyllenhaal, and then what she does, because she's so unhappy, and how she turns into her mother and takes it all out on everybody else. What I loved about Maggie Gyllenhaal's character is how when Betty is losing her shit and being an absolute god and calling her out for being a whore and blah blah blah, she recognizes it as. She's saying this. Betty is
projecting her pain.
Yeah, and she's really saying it about herself. And because her husband is cheating on her and shitty. And what a friend to have who understands, doesn't agree with what you're saying and know that you're being a dick.
Yeah.
But she also sees that you're hurting.
Yeah, she recognizes her pain and she wraps her in a hug and just holds her. And that's all that she needed was some support because she didn't get it from her mom. She went to her mom and she said her husband's having an affair. She wanted to stay with her mom, and her mom said, "This isn't your home anymore. Your home is with your husband, and you need to go home and wait for him. This is what you chose.
Yeah. Your home is Spencer's home is your home now.
Yeah.
So you get married, and this is obviously in the 50s, but like you get married, it's not your home; it's your husband's home, and you live there.
And you're an object essentially to be owned by your husband.
It's yeah.
And she recognized that, and she ended up choosing her own happiness and filing for a divorce, which again at the time was pretty scandalous.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
Yep.
Very much so. And she's probably had very big character growth in that, as she was the most against Julia Roberts' character, who's this progressive.
Yeah, and just
woman.
in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, just pop. No surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I liked it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, or I didn't like it necessarily, but I liked it, but I like the conversation it brings up.
100%. You want to talk about the school a little bit?
Yes.
Because like we mentioned, this is a real school. A women's school.
A women's school for women.
It started in 1880 something or other. No, what were you going to say?
No, I'm going to do mine.
I'm done. What were you going to say?
No, you're about. I just meant, I was going to say that this movie got some backlash, I guess, or... Oh, Tiffany. Very inappropriate hand gesture sent me. It's very rude. See a little bit of backlash, or people weren't thrilled with it because Wellesley as a school is not as it's portrayed in the movie. Like it's a college for women, and it's not actually a finishing school. They didn't have etiquette classes, and there weren't curfews and that kind of thing. Like it was still, a school in the 50s, but it wasn't as strict and harsh or...
and they had been studying modern art for quite some time at that point too. I actually have a few notes about their thoughts.
Sorry, that's what I was going to say at the end, and I realized I was being a button interrupting you.
No, it's okay.
So I was trying to be nicer.
We're getting to the same place together. Yes. It's fine. Thank you. So the West. I always want to say Wellesley because that's how it's spelled, but it's Wellesley.
Spell it like you say.
The Wellesley College president expressed regret given that the alumni from the 1950s felt that the film's portrayal was inaccurate. And by the way, the screenwriters reportedly based the screenplay on Hillary Clinton's experience in the early 1960s, but I couldn't find a lot about that besides in a couple of reviews, people saying that it was reportedly based on. Oh, but I don't know that it was. I feel like it was more so just that. Maybe they were inspired by the fact that she went there. I'm not too sure because I couldn't find anything to prove that. But anyways, back to the alumni who had watched this film, who went to the school in the 1950s.
Yeah.
One woman who graduated in 1954 said if she saw the movie when she was 18, she'd never want to go there. Former alumni were upset that students were portrayed as spoiled brats in the college as a smothering incubator. They were embarrassed to be associated with the school that the film portrayed.
Yes.
Because I just wanted to see if that was actually a thing, and they were actually, feeling that. And so, I mean, of course, though, it's like I said, it's a Hollywood film, so they're going to take a lot of liberties, and they're going to...
Sorry, it's garbage.
It's very loud outside, and it's very distracting.
All the windows are closed, and it is definitely garbage hour. So just don't mind all the banging and clashing. Sorry about it. They'll leave. Hey, it's 3 o'clock and not the usual 7 a.m., so... I mean, I'm happy because I'm awake. But anyway, the perks and downfalls of living downtown.
But yeah, so they were, I guess, feeling that things weren't portrayed exactly, you know, how they were back in the day, which is fair. And it wasn't as much as a finishing school as was portrayed in the film. I think, you know, the film kind of shows that the girls being very book smart. They were able to kind of recite the textbook back to their teacher, which, you know, is kind of a bit of a slap in the face, I think, to the students that actually went there, and you know, it didn't give them a lot of credit, I feel like, in the movie for being their own thinkers.
I think it would have. They really didn't have to say it was Wellesley itself. Like, they could have named it some made up school,
right?
You know, and it's based on the Seven Sisters colleges and of that time, finishing school at the time. They could have made it like a made up name of a school and filmed it at Wellesley, but not said it was Wellesley.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting choice, right? That they would have actually
you could have
chosen
said
a school
anything
and then not really based it on anything in particular.
Yeah, like it's just an amalgamation of all of the schools of that time,
right?
And they just shoot it in Wellesley or whatever. And yeah, you didn't really have to do that because, again, people, especially people who, you know, like us, we're Canadians, and I don't know where they are. I don't really know. We don't have Ivy League schools like that. We don't have that kind of a system. I mean, maybe in like Ontario, I guess, or here, but not in Saskatchewan. Like, we have a good university, but it's not like those big schools.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the impression you get of them, and it kind of turns you off of going to some of those places. And because it's like, well, that's what they were like then. What are they like now? I don't know. But yeah, that was kind of a interesting choice.
I actually did make some notes about the college. I didn't even realize. Wellesley College, private women's liberal art college, founded in 1870.
Ooh.
Yeah. So the alumni base is widely viewed as the most powerful women's network in the world. Alumni include, like I said, Hillary Clinton. She was in there in the 1960s. Madeleine Albright, Diane Sawyer, Nora Ephron, and, as I said earlier, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, who I then chose to click on her little Wikipedia page. Ooh, what a treat. Why isn't there a movie based on her life? There isn't that I know of. Maybe there is.
But about her. Tell me about her.
I'll tell you a little bit. She was an American journalist, author, women's suffragette advocate, and conservationalist. She lived to be 108 years old, and she fought for causes she believed in right up to the end of her life. Like, she was in her 70s and 80s and 90s, like, fighting for conservation of some place. I don't know. I didn't write that down, but
conservation in general.
Yeah, she sounds like a real cool lady. She's the one that I said she really liked drinking her whiskey and her sherry, and you got to read about her. She sounds really cool.
What's her name again?
Marjorie Stoneman Douglas.
Marjorie.
Because I didn't know anything about the woman. I knew about the school, and I knew that there was a school shooting at that school, and that's it. And it kind of erases the person a little bit, I think. So
yes,
check out her Wikipedia. She's
ma'am,
bitchin'.
She's bitchin'. Amazing. Oh, funny. I like it.
I guess, yeah. And another critique for me about the movie. Sorry,
not to
be a negative Nancy.
No, that's what we're here for.
The characters' views of the world in this movie are very narrow. I feel like sometimes the way that women are depicted are very small, very close-minded.
Yeah.
They're not very fleshed out ideas of a woman, which is unfortunate, and I see that a little bit in this film. It kind of does a disservice to the characters, and making these like archetypes. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. The more you say it, I agree with that. It's like the third time throwing it back to Ocean's 8. But that was one of my big problems with that movie is you have all these powerhouse actors. These women are fucking incredible. Like, that cast is amazing. But their characters, I was so excited who the fuck they are.
No.
Like Kate Blanchett?
Mm-hmm.
I did not know the entire movie what her character's name was.
Right.
Like, no idea.
But who's this movie directed by?
Mike Newell.
Do you think that's part of it?
Maybe. And it's 2 male writers and a male director.
Yeah.
Whereas some of the movies we've watched lately, we've been kind of lucky. But there's been a female in the director or writer spot.
Like, we've been choosing that lately, and we're trying to kind of branch out a little bit because we want to see female movies also directed by men and kind of compare them. And just the way that I feel is that they're presented as a little bit one-dimensional.
Yes.
Right?
It's like, okay, I get that you're writing down that they have these opinions, But it's like you get a breakdown of like, this is this character, these are their 3 opinions, and these, and that's all you. That's what you have to go on. So
and also, none of the artwork in the movie is by a woman. It's all male artists, which I don't know. That was just kind of a funny little aside.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I mean, it's a movie that's theoretically made for women and to feel empowering, I guess. But again, it's not made by a woman.
No, and it's got some great moments. Like, I don't want to downplay the fact that it really has some wonderful moments and little shivery moments in that very last scene where Julia Roberts is driving away, and the fact that it doesn't end in any sort of romance. She leaves the 2 men that she was with during the movie, and she's driving away in a cab to go off to Europe because she's never been, and Kirsten Dunst is biking, trying to keep up with her to say thank you for supporting me when my own mother didn't support me and you were there for me, and I got a little emotional. So it's got great little moments in it.
It really does.
I don't want to downplay those.
Well, I've seen this a lot. I mean, I own it, so I've watched it numerous times.
Right.
But I haven't watched it in the last at least 5 years or so, especially not since we've started the podcast. And I've noticed that, I think you've said too, even since as we're growing up, when we hit our 30s and we're figuring out, spoiler, we're 30. Plus,
I think we've said that before.
Yeah, I know. We just always joke about when we're born. It's hilarious. But at least for me, like, you hit 30 and I did not have like a weird crisis-y moment of like, oh my God, I'm 30 and where's my life going? I actually had a very nice birthday. It was great. Lots of fun things happened that weekend. But it's been more of a self-discovery of who I am and who I am as an adult, as a woman, as a person, like who I am. And then with everything that's happening in our media, especially with women and people of color and people in the movie industry and equality and et cetera, et cetera. And then with this podcast, I feel like it's on my mind a lot, way more than it ever used to be.
Yeah, we're looking at things with a much more critical eye than we ever did. Like, Teal and I both watched Austin Powers last night separately.
Yeah, hilarious.
And I was just watching it, and I was just thinking of it in such different terms, and like, this movie would never fly in 2019 if that movie just came out and it was new.
There's quite a few movies
that... What the fuck is this? What's going on?
Like, another one I mentioned was 40-Year-Old Virgin. Always really liked it, and like, it's older for sure, like at least 10 years, but it's not that old.
It's not that old.
And it's bad. Like, there's so many things where I'm just like, fuck, this isn't funny anymore. It used to be. It was funny originally. And
so what you're saying is this podcast is ruining movies for you.
Yes, my goodness. Yes.
No, I think it's important that we are looking at things in a different way, in a more critically. I'm sorry, I'm getting a leg cramp. I have to shift. Kind of thinking critically about things. I think that's so important, and not just kind of swallowing what is presented to us without any thought.
Fuck, it's exactly right. We are not swallowing the shit that's given to us. We're allowed to question it and ask for more and ask for better than what we're being given.
Yeah, because if this was the 1950s, we wouldn't necessarily be given that option. And if we were, you would be ostracized for questioning things, right? So, I mean, we need to be really thankful that we're in the era that we live in and that we are able to question things. Because, it's so scary. You look at the news now and women are being denied the right to choose their own bodies.
Autonomy. Like, it's so fucked.
It's the most terrifying thing.
It's so fucked. Like, I just don't even... I don't know...
Oh, like, you can't even process it. It doesn't seem real.
It's so completely atrocious and horrendous and shocking and disgusting and... yeah. But, like, the least we can do is question things and... not just take them at face value and say, you know what, that's actually not, this isn't okay. We can have more or better than this. Like, we don't have to be stuck in what society, which we know right now is very much just society equals old white men, are giving us. Like, that's what it is. Like, all the 22 people that voted on all that stuff in Alabama or Georgia or whatever were all white men. Like, it's like, well, that's... what do you know about anything? You don't know anything about us. You don't know anything about us or anybody else but yourselves. Why do you get to have a say in anything? And,
right.
On our very small scale, we're going to put that to movies. Because that's the thing we can control in our lives.
That's right. Yeah.
But again, what I like about this, because yes, it's a little bit small potatoes as movies, like whatever, but it changes, I'm changing the way that I think and the way that I see things. And it's, not having to be satisfied with what you're given and to be okay with that, and learning to not politely laugh at inappropriate, shitty jokes, and actually just saying, I'm not even saying anything, but just not reacting. We're saying, that's not funny. Little things like that, I guess, is what we can do, and I don't know. Whatever.
You're right. That's great. Thank you.
I don't know how to end that sentence. I just peed it off.
Do you have anything else?
Not especially. It's more like tangents about man.
Oh, okay.
Because I always have those.
Let's hear them.
I guess it was just the frustrating thing about, I know it's the 50s and stuff, but just how women are gaslit and manipulated into being told that they want to be housewives and they want to stay home and have a family, and like that's what you just like watching Betty and her mother, how her mother has basically raised her to be a wife, and that's what she was meant for. That's what you're born for and born into, and you're just women. There's just this mentality that women are only here to breed, and it's so fucking bothersome. And I just, but these guys can, especially in this era, they get the wife and they get the house, that's great, and then they get the job in the city, and then they have their girl on the side, and they can have it all.
They have it all.
Men can have it all, and women can have it all too, as long as all that they want is a
is
home
what the man
children.
wants.
Yeah, it's like, because all that women want is to get married and have a home. So of course they can have it all, but men can have that too, and then some, and then some, and then some. And it's just the mentality of how the two sexes are raised, thinking of what all is. And yeah, it's fucked up. Yeah, it's just, we can have more. Your all can be bigger.
Yeah, we can have it all.
Or it can be that small or small, whatever that is to you, but just, you can have whatever it is that you want. You just have to go for it and ask for it and choose it. And,
yeah, you need to fight for yourself. You need to be your own champion.
Yeah.
And we need to be each other's champions.
Yeah, and that's, not looking down on, let's keep it in for women, I guess, and not looking down on other women for wanting children, not wanting children, getting married, not getting married, having a career, not having a career, any of those things in between. And just, if that's what your friend, your mom, your child, your sister, your whatever has chosen, and they've chosen that for themselves, and fucking just be happy or shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's a boring life if we all choose the same path.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. You have to learn and live your life and make mistakes and have experiences and get messy. Thank you, Miss Frizzle. Just
and change your mind.
Yeah, you can change your mind. You can try something else, realize it's horrible, and try something else.
Yeah.
And then realize actually you did like the first thing, go back to that too. That's also fine. You can go back and forth and flip flop and just make, as long as you're not hurting yourself or others, then it doesn't matter. Go for it.
Yeah, that's what life is all about.
Yeah, you don't have to pick a career and then stick with it. What if you don't like it? I don't know. Or you can take a career and do it for the rest of your life and be thrilled. Yeah, we're told so young. You graduate high school and then you have to decide what you want to be right away. I didn't know what I want to be, and I didn't know what kind of person I was. I'm just now in my 30s starting to understand who I am and what I want. And that's 12 years after you get out of high school and you're supposed to have chosen your career path then.
And I still don't know, and I probably never will, and that's fine.
It is fine. People like our parents' age, lots of them, they're just figuring out what they want, or they still don't know, or that's why people have their midlife crises. People retire and then they figure out what they actually wanted to do. I don't want to get to that age and figure that out.
Yeah, I think you're always discovering yourself constantly, and if you're ever at a point where you aren't discovering yourself anymore, then what's the point?
Yeah, you should always be learning and growing and changing and becoming better than you were yesterday, in whatever sense that is, whatever better means to you.
I want to frame that.
Okay. I can cross stitch now. I'll cross stitch it on.
Yeah, I would love that. That was a fun tangent.
Oh, good.
Do you know what my last note is?
Yes.
My last note is that the Mona Lisa was thought to depict a 13-year-old named Bianca before her marriage to a commander of the Milanese forces.
Interesting.
So how upsetting is that?
That's so
Because, you know, they're
fucked
you know,
up.
discussing the Mona Lisa smile, and secretly she's really happy behind, you know, because her smile appears, it looks like a smile, and then you kind of look a little closer, it appears as though her mouth is kind of downturned just based on the shadows
Yeah.
that he was playing with the paint. And then if that's true, that it was based on this 13-year-old girl just before she was married to this
Some
older
fucking
man.
Gross.
Ooh, it just changes everything, doesn't it? To
course her
look at her
smile is
again
downturned.
and think about that and what that must have felt like at that time. And then I just got really depressed.
We often get depressed.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
That's all right. You know what? And we pick each other back up.
That's fine. It's right.
That's
why
what
there's
we
a
do.
cocktail to go with.
Yeah. Because if we look at this sober, we might just cry.
Sometimes we cry anyway. If you're not sure, go back to Thelma and Louise where Teal cries 3 times. Anyway, final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Tiffy, did you like it?
I liked it.
I think that's an excellent tone.
I liked it with a few addendums.
Great. I love it. Who would you recommend this for? 'Cause that's a tricksy one.
That is a tricksy one. Maybe a girlfriend who feels pressure to do certain things, for example. Who of us doesn't have a friend that, you know, is panicking about having babies or meeting the right man at a certain time? You know what I mean? Maybe recommend it to her.
Nice. Someone who's not sure who they are or what they want yet.
Yeah, and just watch this movie and be like, hey, you know what? Whatever you want is fine.
Yeah.
And
I like it.
just figure it out for yourself. Don't do it because we're told to do it. Or that you feel that you have to do it.
Nice.
Because I feel like a lot of my friends growing up, I felt like that was the case. Oh,
Yeah.
I want a boyfriend, I want a husband, and I want babies. Why? Why do you have to have those things, and why do
Yeah.
you have to have them right now?
Yeah, and because the fear too is that there's, you know, everyone says that, but it's not actually true for a lot, and so many women get pregnant and start that family so early, but then realize it's not what they wanted.
Yeah.
And then you're unhappy. It's like, well, then are you even being a good parent? If
Yeah,
you're
and
not
you
happy?
can't go back once you've crossed
No.
that threshold.
And that's the thing, is it's okay to take your time. You don't have to feel pressured. And, you know, our parents were married and having babies when they were like 25 and...
Or 16.
Or, yeah, exactly, or less. And some people know from when they were a kid that that's what they wanted, is to be a mom, and that was what they wanted with their life. There was a girl I used to work with, and she told me she wanted to be a mother. That is what she wanted, and she has 2 beautiful little girls, and she is the most amazing mother. That's what all she knew she wanted.
Some women wanted that, and I think that's great.
It's
Sometimes I kind of
beautiful.
wish that that's what I had wanted, because maybe
Yeah.
life would be easier if that's what was my essential goal in life. But
Yeah, and then those are the people that should be parents. Someone who
Yeah.
wants it more than anything, and not because they want to see what their babies look like, because that's just vanity.
Yeah.
But because you just want to be a mother and be a parent, and she's doing an amazing job with her kids, with her girls. Like I can't wait for these little girls to grow up. They also have the best names. I'll tell you them after when they're not on the internet. But she just is creating such an amazing home, and you know, I watch on her like Instagram and Facebook what they do and the activities they do and the things that they learn and how they're allowed to express themselves, and it's a beautiful thing to see someone who wants to be a parent doing it and doing it so well. And I just think like that's beautiful to me, because she knew what her calling was and she went for it and did it and is crushing it.
Yeah.
I'm sure she still has her day. Obviously, she must have her days where it's just like, oh my god, what have I done? Because everyone has that in any career that they choose, even if it's the one that's perfect. But yeah, she just seems like the most wonderful parent.
Super mom.
Yeah, very much so. Anyway, what mood should you be in to watch this?
I think a contemplative mood. Makes you think,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not a very deep movie either. It's not a
No.
movie that you have to go into.
Yeah, you could definitely watch this on like a.
Tell us what kind of day. what time of day do I need to watch this at, and what should I snack on while I'm watching it, and
I mean,
what should I wear on my feet?
brat.
I know.
But like also fuck you because I already have in mind that it should be.
Of course you do.
When I think about time of day, as soon as you said it, a sunny winter Sunday afternoon with tea and a blanket.
Aww.
So fuck you. Because that's what it makes me think of.
Tea and a cigarette.
Right, it's chilly outside, so you don't have to go, like not in the summer because you should be outside, which, whatever, you don't have to be outside. I like to be inside. But you know, it's like a chilly day, it's an afternoon, it's probably Sunday, and yeah.
Wearing a pair of warm fuzzy slippers.
Yeah, and a cozy
got
blanket.
a nice blanket
and a cup
around
of tea.
you. Maybe your cat's snuggled up beside you,
Yeah,
or
if you have one,
got
I
a pupper in your lap.
Ooh.
Well, you've got a fuzzy
That
pillow.
I do
that
have fuzzy
doubles
pillows.
as a fuzzy kitty.
It's true. But that's yeah, it's
Wasn't judging. I love your answers.
They're so very specific.
They're very specific, and I enjoy that very much.
A very imaginative.
I'm so broad, and you are so specific, and I love it.
So specific, it's very weird. But like, I just get a very specific, vivid location in my mind's eye. I have a very vivid imagination. Anyway, how would you rate this? Because that's what I love.
I would rate this one giant Jackson Pollock out of like 6 Pablo Picassos.
What kind of Pablo Picassos?
I don't know, just little
Or
ones.
maybe like Van Gogh paint by numbers.
Oh yeah, 6 Van Gogh paint by numbers. Anyone can be a Van Gogh.
Anyone can. It's true, but no one can be a Jackson Pollock. Not in that size.
No one can just throw a bunch of paint on canvas.
Yeah,
Splatters.
your paint looks stupid. Your name is Jackson. Unless your name is Jackson, then go for it.
What would you rate this? Because I know you want to answer.
I can never think of anything creative.
It's the most
enough.
fun one.
It's so silly. I would rate this. One secret society out of 4 matching chintz pictures to go with your bedding.
Oh. So much chintz.
So much chintz.
Oh, matching.
Oh, matching. And then
And an elaborate hand gesture.
Because I'm also ever the hostess. There you are.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. That was fun, and I really enjoyed our discussion today.
Me too. It was good. Enjoy, guys, and have a delightful rest of your cold Sunday afternoon.
Cold winter Sunday afternoon.
But like, listen to it now because it's not winter anymore. It's summer, and like we need our numbers up. Just kidding. Okay, bye.
Bye. Beep boop up, done.